Coming up this week on Meeting Minds, you guys, we have an incredible guest. He's the president and CEO of Icon Parks. Very, very cool property in the Orlando area. And you're not going to want to miss this episode of Meeting Minds.
This is Meeting Minds with Charles Ide. Join Charles as he chats with the leaders in today's event world on how you can take your events to the next level. Broadcasting from the Icon Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is Meeting Minds with Charles Ide.
Welcome back to Meeting Minds. I don't know about you guys, but I am feeling excited about all the stuff that's going on. The event industry is starting to rumble with good stuff. I am down here in Orlando with my co-host Ashley.
And Orlando is hopping. Things are opening back up.
I tell you what, you guys, I am feeling more optimistic and excited than I was a few weeks ago. So that is good.
Florida's leading the charge.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you guys, we have such a cool guest. This guy, he's the president and CEO of Icon Park. It is such a cool place, and I can't believe that we actually have him right here in person. Chris Jaskiewicz. Did I say it right?
You did.
Oh, thank goodness.
You did, just like it's spelled.
I've done that before. We're all practice, and it still comes out wrong when we're filming.
Everything was going fine until then, and I'm glad we got it. Okay, Chris, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
And this is your hometown, or do you?
I did. I grew up in Orlando.
You did.
And I spent about 20 or 25-ish years in New York City working.
Oh.
And had the opportunity to come home and bring my family here. And so we're having a ball.
Oh,
I love it.
That is so, well, especially with what you do for a living. I mean, if you have kids, I'm sure
they like it. They like coming out. They sure do.
I bet they do. Tell us about, for those of us that have not heard of Icon Park, and we know about Disney, we know about Universal, we know about all these properties. What is Icon Park?
We're the new guy in town.
Okay.
We opened in 2015. So I tell friends that opening in Orlando, an attraction spot in Orlando, is kind of like starting a football team in the SEC. It's very difficult because Disney, 1971, SeaWorld, 1973, Universal, 1990, and we opened in 2015. And so that's a fun part of that's a fun challenge that we have.
You guys
to
are like
make ourselves
the new
relevant.
guy in
We're
town.
the new guy in town.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we are a 20-acre facility with about 40 attractions, restaurants, stores, bars. And it's right in the middle of what we're now calling Orlando's Entertainment District.
Okay.
On International Drive, which is really in the International Drive Resort area. There's something like 130 hotels on International Drive. We have one of the busiest convention centers a mile from us. And it's just filled with world-class hotels, restaurants, and stores, bars. And we're the hub of it. We are the hub of the entertainment district, and it's just a ball.
I love it.
So being the hub of the entertainment district, you've got to have some pretty cool stuff there. There's a few attractions I'm aware of that look pretty cool from far, far away. But I
You're
was
looking at me.
spoiled.
I'm nerding out. We were driving to the airport or to the hotel from the airport, and I can see the wheel off in the distance, and I am so excited.
Yeah.
I'm going tonight.
Wheel's become a big deal in Orlando. Again, it's only been here for about 5 or 6 years, but it's become an important part of the skyline here. I mean, when you vote, you get a sticker, I voted, and they have an image of the wheel on the sticker.
You got on the I voted sticker?
It's pretty big, right?
That's big time.
In a way, we say we are like the Statue of Liberty. We are Orlando's welcome. That's what we are. It's an amazing thing.
No,
$60 million, German engineer.
I'm sorry.
$60 million
Did you
attraction.
say 6D?
$60 million. It's like
it's the
it's
tallest
slow,
wheel in the
it's
world.
comfortable, it's air conditioned, and it's like a skybox in the sky that rotates around. You put 15 people in it. We have bars. You can take a drink or a bottle or a cooler. Or the kids like it if you know. It's a nice.
So
experience.
how many of these boxes are on
About
it?
30.
30. So they're
Capsules.
like $2 million a piece.
There you go.
That's like an expensive jet.
Yeah.
That's like, wow.
Yeah.
It better be air conditioned. So and then it goes around, and how long are you up?
About 20 minutes.
Okay.
About 20 minutes. And it's the place to visit when you want to when you come to Orlando for the first time, because you can see everything. You can see where downtown is. You can see where Disney and Universal and SeaWorld, and you can see the coasts. You can see Cape Canaveral.
Really?
How tall is it?
400 feet.
Oh my. Oh my. Okay. So that's like 40 stories
40
tall.
stories.
Wow, that is so fun. So obviously putting a project like this together has got to be a lot of fun, and obviously in a town like Orlando, even more so. Yeah. How do so this podcast is obviously for the events world. Tell us about, like, do you guys, obviously pre-COVID, but the vision around events and it being a hub? Do you guys host events?
We do. So one of the ways we're different from the typical theme parks is that we have the many different kinds of tenants. We have some of the top hospitality companies in the world that have their own really restaurants and spots and venues on our property. So it's not, we don't own everything. We're the landlord. So Blake Shelton's Ole Red and his partners Ryman Hospitality, I mean, they're as big as and as good as you get. I mean, they own the Grand Ole Opry, and they have a spot called Ole Red.
Is that a restaurant?
It's a restaurant with a huge stage that has live entertainment every single night.
Oh my gosh.
Every single night.
Wow. And is it going on right now too?
Right? Oh yeah.
During COVID? No problem. Go for it.
I mean,
we're in Florida.
We're all very careful. Yeah. We follow the protocols. We have very strict protocols. Everyone's safe.
Yeah.
We've been doing this since June 3rd when we reopened.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're very good at it. Which, we can talk about how we.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's get into that. I want to get into that.
But to answer your question about events, so, Ole Red, we have a Yard House, which is a great spot, 125 beers. And we have Uncle Julio's, which is super popular Mexican. I think we're the only one in Florida, but they've got 40 spots around the country. It's very good.
Uncle Julio's.
Uncle Julio's Mexican. We have Tapatora, Tapas Place. We have Sugar Factory, which is kind of a celebrity-driven
We
brand.
have one of those at the Mall of America.
Yeah, and they do events and a lot of spots. We have a Shake Shack, and but we also have a big lawn area in front of the wheel where people love to have events. We had one last night, and it's just a super view, and we have other space around the property.
Yeah, and I was going to say, even if you're having a convention in the Orlando area, it's a great place for the nighttime to go out and do stuff.
It's very busy during events. People come by to all of the spots and have a ball. And they also have their sidebar meetings in our restaurants and bars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so cool.
It's close. You can walk from the convention center, basically.
Yeah, I've been to a few cities where they have like a district like this. And when you're at a convention and you want to get off the convention property because you're stuck in it for all day, it is so nice to have a place like this where everybody can kind of go to whatever restaurant they want. There's a little shopping if you want to do a little shopping. That's really cool. So tell me about the vision behind this. Like, how did you guys come up with the idea of Icon Park?
It was developed before I started. This really was the vision, to offer a multifaceted entertainment property in really the outdoor entertainment center of the world, which is Orlando, and to attract quality brands and provide different experiences for people. I mean, to think restaurants, like legit attractions. I mean, and
just a $60 million Ferris wheel.
Well, but we've really got 7 more in addition to the wheel.
What else do you have?
Property. Well, we have a new one called Museum of Illusions, which is kind of a mind trick type spot. It's about 6,000 square feet, and you go in and it have 50 or 60 different exhibits that play tricks with your brain. It's really cool. There was one in Manhattan that I enjoyed, and we've now brought them here. And it's the first one in Florida, Museum of Illusions. We have for children a train that goes around the property that the kids really like. We have Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, which is the best wax museum in the world. It's just amazing. We have Sea Life Aquarium, which is probably the best aquarium in the state.
Really?
All sorts of fish. And they do a lot for the animals there too.
And the swing.
We have the world's tallest freestanding swing ride, which also goes up 400 feet.
Oh my gosh, what?
Yes.
400
and you're
feet?
swinging
Are
around.
you sitting on like an individual swing with chain?
Yes.
No way.
Yes, yeah. It's pretty cool. My kids love it. And we have a lot of new attractions coming in. And in that kind of high-speed vein, like the swing ride, we're going to have the world's tallest drop tower.
Oh, no. You will not get me on that.
It's going to open. It's going to go about 100 miles an hour.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Come on.
It's going to tilt forward and drop about 100 miles. Yeah.
Oh, I'm in.
That'll open
I'm
at the
in.
end of
Sign
the
me
year.
up.
That's under construction right now. So when you see the construction site, we have these big cranes and we're building this thing. And the world's tallest slingshot that shoots you up 100 miles an hour separately.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. So, and they really bookend the project. So we're going to be known as the land of the giants.
Oh my God.
One of the world's tallest wheels, the world's tallest freestanding swing ride, and then drop tower slingshot. With all of these other cool bars, restaurants, and shops mixed in.
So pretty much the coolest place on earth
It's
is
great.
what you're saying. Are you
adult
aside
playground.
from the drop? Okay, I'm not doing that, but a lot of people love that. I do know that.
Yes.
Do you? So what is the form? Is the format similar to a Universal or Disney where you pay to get into the park and then you have access to the rides, or is it like no, you get to choose what you want to do and you just kind of a la carte the thing?
Yeah. So one of our benefits, one of the reasons we're doing so well in this pandemic is that we are gate free, open air, no gate, no admission charge to the property. If a family wants to come in and have a dinner at Yard House and go home, they can. If a family wants to come in and go to the aquarium and go home, they can. Or if they want to come and ride the wheel and go have ice cream at Ben & Jerry's, they can. They don't have to deal with, a day and a half process to get into a park.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's what I hate about it. I honestly, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to spend $80 to $100 to go stand in lines all day.
Yeah.
And it just does not sound fun to me. I'm coming back here in next week. I'm coming back here next week. And my wife's like, we should go to Disney. And I'm like, I just don't want to stand in lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. After paying, I get it.
Right.
So the open air thing.
But we also do have, for people who want a single pass, we now have a product where people can buy a ticket. We call it the Play Pass, and that gets them access to all of our attractions. One price. It's probably 20% of what one of the big parks would charge. It's probably half of what we would normally charge. Yeah. But people can then use that ticket to go on all the attractions, and they get discounts at all the restaurants.
Yeah.
It's called the Icon Park Play Pass.
I love it.
That's kind of fun.
For the person
So you
that
get
does want
discounts
like
at
the whole day.
It's kind of like a ski pass. You should do it annually.
We could.
You could do it annually.
We're kind of inventing
It's
these
like a
things as we
permanent
go, but that's a good
wristband.
idea.
For sure. Yeah. No, just send the check. I'll give you my address. Yeah. No, that's super fun. So obviously, when the pandemic began, this wreaked havoc everywhere. From a planning perspective, you've got a large place where people gather. And obviously, you guys have handled this so well. Tell me, how did you do it?
Well, it's been an incredible year. We feel like we've worked probably 2.5 years in this past year. It's been, I think the first step is having really good people because it's been tough. Orlando was absolutely devastated. To think that we had 72 million people fly into Orlando in 2019. 72 million visitors to Orlando. And it basically, I can't say it went to zero. I don't know off the top, but
Darn near it.
it was, it felt like zero.
Yeah.
And when we're on a street with 140 hotels and, 40 of them closed because there's no one coming, it's a big deal.
That's depressing.
It is a depression in an area like ours. So, and for us, we took over the project about 2.5 years ago. And at the end of the day, it's a real estate project, right? We have attractions and we have tenants. And what we noticed was after doing an audit that it really wasn't a destination. And it had a few different names, and it was just a real estate project. That's what happens, right? It takes a while for things to gestate. I came in, audited it, renamed it, really started conveying this is a destination the way I just described it, right? It's
Sounds like one to me.
It's a 20-acre awesome destination with 40 different spots, right? So we started doing that, and we named it Icon Park, which conveys destination. And we started doing a lot of fun events and bringing people and generated a lot of excitement. And all of our tenants did better in 2019 than they did in 2018. Great result.
Yep.
If you're a landlord, that's what you want, healthy tenants. In 2020, January and February, our wheel ticket sales, our riders were higher than they were in 2019.
Wow.
So everything's heading in the right direction. And then COVID hit. It's amazing. But that rebrand, that destination message that we established, we kept that, but just added a few things. Open air, gate free. Open air, gate free.
So it wasn't gate free in the beginning.
No, in terms of
just explaining it to the world.
In terms of emphasizing.
Because that was one of my big questions, because I do want to go tonight, but I don't know.
Open air, gate free is what we told.
I love open air. It's
Open air.
It's great because you go, okay, well, I'm not going to be having to breathe the exhaust of all these people. Honestly.
Right, right. And so that was a very big part of what we did.
Yeah. Yeah, so it brought a lot of comfort back to the idea of coming together. And
I'll tell you, a lot of people have been panicked about the lack of people coming into Orlando. But what we talk about since March is let's focus on the people in Florida, in Central Florida even. 3 million people live in Central Florida. I mean, we coined a new tri-state area. It's not New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. It's Florida, Georgia, Alabama. Let's give discounts to the Florida, Georgia, Alabama folks.
there you go.
They can drive here. And you know what they have? They have. We've been flexible, nimble, hungry.
Yeah.
We presented first to the reopening committee. We explained how we could operate and operate well.
Yeah.
And they let us open.
Isn't that exciting? That's got to feel
Exhausting.
I can hear it in your voice.
Great. Yeah,
It is exciting. Yeah, it's fun to talk about.
It'll make the normal years seem
Boring.
Yeah, boring, right?
We'll need to go on that drop tower together.
You're going on that someday.
You're going to be having to add a ride a year just to keep excitement going, right?
Right?
Good point.
That is super fun.
You had talked about like the team and just how important the people have been through all of this. Like, what is some of your advice of, as a leader of this company, what's your advice for just how to keep the morale up? Because I'm sure a lot of people were terrified. We didn't know what was happening. We didn't know what reopening was going to look like. Like, what's your advice for another leader who might be going through something similar?
Well, I saw that you spoke with Lee Cockerell because I saw him in the hallway, and I've been reading his books and following Lee for a long time. He's an important mentor to me as I've been going through this process, and he spends an enormous amount of energy talking about people, projects, processes, and that leads to profit. His son, Dan, also has written a book that comes to mind when you ask your question. And his book is about culture and leadership. And he has chapter on, leading yourself, and a chapter on leading your team, a chapter on leading an organization, and one chapter on leading change, right? And what we had to deal with is lead through change. And if we're following the things that Lee talks about getting right, he talks about taking the energy and time to hire people, hire well, retain well. And then when you're tested, like we were in COVID, those people are going to do their jobs and be resilient, and you're going to be fine. Because if you can't go through what we just went through without great people, you can't. You just can't do it. It's impossible. Because you can't hire in the middle of something like that.
No.
So as you move forward, you look at the vision of Icon Park and kind of where it's headed, and your strategy to make it a great destination. What's on your mind?
We're ambitious. We keep bringing in new tenants, and we keep raising the bar, and we want more and more people to know. I want us to be the best known entertainment destination anywhere. That's what I want.
I love that. That is ambitious, man. That is really ambitious.
We are. We're very unique. I don't know another entertainment venue anywhere like us in this country. I mean, what else has diverse attractions, incoming attractions, plus the restaurants and bars and live entertainment.
Yeah.
That unless you own it all.
Yeah.
Unless there's one owner. I mean, we've got 40 different owners that we're all, we're an ecosystem. That's what we are.
The business model makes so much sense. to have all the different tenants and to have
Oh,
things
yeah, I
that
love
can move
it.
around and rotate and, because things will change, right? They will,
Exactly.
inevitably.
I was thinking about, thank goodness you built it in Florida. I mean, Orlando. Like
lucky.
just the ability to continue to stay open like you have. I mean, that has been a game changer for the businesses here.
I think that says a lot about our government leaders. I mean, they went out on the edge a little bit back in June when we reopened, but they studied the science and felt comfortable letting us open.
Yeah.
But they put us through quite a process.
Yeah.
We had to, demonstrate to them how we could operate safely.
Yeah, and you've done a nice job of making it a safe environment where people can still do what they want to do.
They actually sent in inspectors before to inspect this.
I
before
bet they did.
But again,
I mean, we had to submit what our operating plans would be, and then they came and inspected it.
Have you ever bought this many cleaning supplies in your life?
No, it's expensive. It's very expensive. We
bet
spend
it is.
thousands of more dollars, tens of thousands of more dollars a month on cleaning.
Yeah.
Like those capsules, for example. We clean them after every party. And by the way, they're private.
Yeah.
So if you're a 2-person group or a 1-person group, you get your own capsule.
Yeah.
When you leave, we clean that thing.
Yeah.
And then at night, we deep clean it.
So you mean to
Wow.
tell me I get to get on the capsule and I don't have to have a bunch of people I don't know?
You don't.
Oh, that is great. I'm just going to go get my own capsule.
Until after this podcast, because we're going to be so crowded.
I'm going to bring my Bluetooth speaker and I'm going to go have my own dance party in my own capsule.
That's right.
Yours is just like lighting
We're
up.
going to let you
as it goes
spend
around.
10 spins.
Yeah, let me go around 10
And
times.
we're going to give you a microphone.
I'm going to do karaoke from the top of the
That's
wheel. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's a terrible
Have
idea.
different themed little boxes. Oh my gosh.
That is so fun. So do you feel like, do you feel like you grew as a leader through the pandemic? And what have you taken away from it?
I think so. That's an interesting question. I haven't really thought about that, but I think anytime one goes through a crisis, this is a prolonged crisis, it makes you better. It makes you a better leader.
Do you
For
feel
sure.
like the people around you, your other leaders that report to you and are on your team, do you feel like they've grown or you've learned about them through this?
I do. I mean, you can really tell the people who are committed. And when you have a young project like ours, this is a big investment of theirs. They're investing their careers and they're really the big part of their lives into a project. So it's very meaningful when you see the kind of dedication where people are coming in. When we closed on March 23rd, 2020, we were all, the core group of us were still going in every single day. Every single day. And to see that kind of dedication, I don't know if most of us haven't taken vacation, it was just work. But that's what you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a saying, you don't really know what people are made of until you put them in hot water. Right? You've heard that saying?
Oh,
It
yeah.
says like people are like tea bags. You don't know what they're made of until you put them in hot water. And to hear that just, everyone on your team stepped up to the plate, because I'm sure in some companies, some instances, they thought they had a really great team and, a crisis happens, hot water happens, and they find out that half their people weren't quite what they thought they were.
Yeah.
Because you can fake it during the easy times pretty well.
Yeah.
Do you
Right.
do you think
You're absolutely right about that, Ashley.
do you think you'll do Icon Park in other places around the country?
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to replicate a 400-foot high wheel. I mean, that's really the cornerstone.
We
of
can't
it.
just order one of those.
I mean, the demographics, the marketplace, everything would have to but possibly. I mean, we're very good at this kind of thing.
I mean, there's only a few of those in the world, right? There's one over in, I think it's London.
London.
Then there's one here.
Vegas.
So
Vegas.
London
Vegas.
is bigger than the one.
London's bigger.
Okay.
Vegas is bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
There might be another one in Dubai or something that's bigger. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. But this is the biggest one in Florida, okay,
right.
Ashley?
East Coast.
Uh-huh.
East
Oh, I'm so
Coast,
excited.
East Coast, yeah.
I'm
Sky
so
Bar,
excited.
And I say it's the tallest bar between Miami and New York City. But then
you go.
sometimes people say, Chris, I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll go with it.
No,
The tallest rotating bar.
I got it. It's the tallest karaoke bar.
I'm getting my own box.
great. That's really
sharing
good.
with you.
Let me make a note on
Yeah,
that
make
one.
a note on
That's
that
good.
one.
That's
Share
good.
that with your team. That'll be. Okay, so I always like to ask somebody before we finish up, what is your advice for somebody who's getting started in their career? You know, I always ask about the events business, but really this is career-long stuff that we're all doing, whether you're in the events industry or not. A lot of this is universal. What do you say to that person who's just getting started in their career?
What I say is go to work, to be blunt, go to work for the best company that you could get a job with, that has the most established training processes. So you learn the right way to do things.
Mm-hmm. So go to work at the best place to become the best.
If you can work at a Fortune 10 company, you know, go to work for a Fortune 10 company.
Even if it's starting in the mailroom.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
kind of like that as a first.
Well, but to get started, to get experience,
I was kidding. Yeah.
You know, learn the culture.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked for PepsiCo for 2 years out of college.
Yeah.
And I think that was a pretty good base. So if people can work for a company that's established, or even if it's in a niche in events, you know, I wouldn't start my own.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Go work for somebody.
Go work for somebody.
Yeah.
It might be a 2-person firm that has a great record.
Yeah.
That's an example of going to work for the best company that you can in an area that appeals to you.
This is very much
so
what
good.
Lee was saying. He was saying, make sure you get experience. You need to get experience.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go starting your own thing right away if you don't have to.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Experience.
So
exposure.
one of the two of you made that up, and the other, no, I'm just kidding. No, I
he
mean,
said
great
Lee's
minds
his
think
mentor.
alike, and I think it's a brilliant. I can tell why you would say that. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I feel like the first 10 years of my career, I was just getting my ass kicked.
Really?
Yeah, well, you know. You're learning the whole time,
right?
And learning, you're bumping the walls constantly,
right?
So your elbows start hurting,
right?
But
right. I think another thing for people early in their career is it's almost easy to do your day's worth of work and go home, right? You get in a routine, but push yourself to learn context of every situation. Like, why are we doing? Why? What's the context of this situation? If someone made a decision you didn't really agree with, find out why. It helps with judgment, right? Because
that's powerful,
need
right
to
there.
like develop their judgment.
Right.
It's not really the older. People who are older are wiser. It's because of their experiences. Our young people that went through this with us the past 18 months, they've grown tremendously because of the rapidity of the experiences, right? But if someone's in a entry-level job, it's well worth their time and not a bothering. The worst thing you want is bother people all the time with questions, right? But be smart about it and learn about context.
Yeah.
Why are we doing things this way?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Helps.
so good.
I love that. Context
That was
it's something that people don't even think about. I love that. That's powerful.
Understanding the why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, this has been so much fun.
Thank
and
you.
are
You
a
guys are great.
super busy guy about town, and I'm just so thankful for you to
Thank
be here
you.
and share your
My
wisdom.
pleasure.
I can't wait. I want to go check it out. I mean, and anybody listening, if you want to learn more about Icon Park, how do we find out about it?
Website, iconpark.orlando.com. We're, one of the reasons people love us is because we're easy to get to and we have free parking and we're close to
there, I'm so
I-4,
there.
Beach Line,
Free
Turnpike,
parking.
all the major roads in Central Florida. They all end up at Icon Park.
Well, there you have it, guys. If you find yourself in Orlando, check it out, or come to Orlando to check it out.
Thank you.
And we're very grateful for your time
You guys
today.
are terrific. Thank you.
For those of you that watch Meeting Minds or listen to it, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. You can see Meeting Minds there. Also subscribe, do all the stuff. If you have questions, DM us. We love our audience. We'll see you next week right here on another episode of Meeting Minds. See ya.
Thank you for listening to Meeting Minds. Meeting Minds. Brought to you by IDCOM Event Production, changing the world one audience at a time. Follow IDCOM Creative and Meeting Minds podcast on Instagram. And check out meetingminds.org to find show notes for this episode, past episodes, and inspiration. As always, please subscribe, leave a review, and tune in next week for another episode of Meeting Minds.